Have you ever looked at a celebrity and thought, wait, they're transgender? If so, you're not alone. Some of the most powerful figures in Hollywood have courageously rewritten their own stories. By living their truth in the spotlight, they didn't just change their lives, they changed how the world talks about gender, identity, and authenticity. In this video, we'll explore 15 inspiring journeys of fame, fear, and bravery. Stay until the end. The final story might change how you see Hollywood. Gigi Gorgeous represents a different kind of revolution. One that didn't begin on a red carpet, but in front of a camera, alone, speaking directly to the world. Long before mainstream media was ready to talk openly about transgender lives, Gigi was already doing it online, in real time, with honesty and courage. Born Giselle Lorraine Lazarato, Gigi began her YouTube journey in the late 2000s, sharing beauty tutorials and lifestyle content. But over time, her channel became something far more personal. In 2013, she publicly came out as transgender and chose to document her transition openly. There were no scripts, no filters, just raw emotion, vulnerability, and truth. Millions watched, not out of curiosity, but because they felt seen. For many young viewers, Gigi was the first transgender woman they ever encountered, and that mattered. Through humor, fear, joy, and uncertainty, she showed that transitioning wasn't just a physical change. It was an emotional journey filled with growth, doubt, and self-discovery. Her openness created a sense of connection rarely seen at the time. As her influence grew, Gigi moved beyond YouTube. She became an advocate for LGBTQ+ visibility, appeared in major media outlets, and shared her story in the documentary This Is Everything, Gigi Gorgeous. The film offered an intimate look into her family, relationships, and evolving identity, reminding audiences that acceptance often begins at home. Today, Gigi Gorgeous remains a powerful voice in digital culture. Even through personal changes and public challenges, she continues to stand for authenticity. Her story proves that sometimes the most powerful visibility doesn't come from fame, but from the courage to press record and tell the truth, even when your voice is shaking. Andreja Pejić entered the fashion world long before she ever spoke publicly about being transgender. Born in Bosnia and raised in Australia, Andreja rose to international fame in the early 2010s as an androgynous model who challenged everything the industry believed about gender. She walked both men's and women's runways, appeared in major campaigns, and became a symbol of beauty that refused to be categorized. At the time, the world didn't know what to call her, but it couldn't look away. Behind the striking images and global attention was a quiet, personal journey. In 2014, Andreja publicly came out as a transgender woman, marking a turning point not only in her life, but in the history of modern fashion. For many, it was a moment of clarity. The question was no longer about labels, but about truth. Andreja didn't disappear after her transition, she evolved. And that evolution made her impact even stronger. What makes Andreja's story so powerful is that she proved authenticity does not end a career, it can redefine it. After transitioning, she continued modeling, appeared on international magazine covers, and became the first openly transgender model to front a major beauty campaign. Her presence sent a clear message: femininity, strength, and success are not limited by gender. Today, Andreja Pejić remains an influential voice in fashion and film. She has expanded into acting, speaking openly about identity, freedom, and self-acceptance. Her story resonates because it is quiet, elegant, and deeply human. Andreja reminds us that beauty isn't about fitting expectations. It's about having the courage to live honestly, even when the world is still learning how to see you. Caitlyn Jenner is one of the most recognizable public figures to ever come out as a transgender woman, and her journey marked a turning point in modern pop culture. Long before the world knew her as Caitlyn, she was celebrated as Bruce Jenner, the Olympic gold medalist who won the decathlon at the 1976 Montreal Games. At the time, She represented strength, discipline, and the classic image of the American hero. But behind that iconic smile was a deeply personal struggle that lasted for decades. The desire to live as her true self. In 2015, everything changed. Caitlyn publicly came out as transgender during a televised interview watched by millions, and soon after appeared on the historic cover of Vanity Fair with the headline, "Call Me Caitlyn." It was a moment that stopped the world. For many people, this was their first real exposure to a transgender story told openly, honestly, and without apology. The conversation around gender identity suddenly moved from the margins into living rooms across America. Caitlyn's transition sparked both admiration and controversy. She became a symbol of courage for some, while others questioned her political views and public statements. Still, her impact is undeniable. By choosing visibility, she helped humanize a topic that had long been misunderstood, especially by older and more conservative audiences. Today, Caitlyn continues to live openly, using her platform to speak about personal freedom and identity. Her story reminds us that it's never too late to live authentically, and that sometimes, one person's truth can change the way an entire society listens, learns, and grows. When Isis appeared on America's Next Top Model, she became the first openly transgender contestant in the show's history. At a time when transgender representation on mainstream television was almost non-existent, her presence alone was groundbreaking. But Isis was never reduced to a headline. What audiences noticed first was her calm strength, her confidence, and her refusal to apologize for who she was. The spotlight was intense. Every step she took on the runway carried more weight than fashion. Isis understood that she wasn't just competing for herself. She was representing a community that had long been pushed to the edges of visibility. And she carried that responsibility with grace. After the show, Isis didn't disappear. She expanded her career into acting, earning recognition for her roles in series like When We Rise and With Love. In each performance, she brought depth and authenticity, portraying transgender characters not as side stories, but as real people with emotional complexity and purpose. Her work quietly challenged audiences to rethink what representation could look like. Beyond television, Isis has used her platform to advocate for transgender rights, body positivity, and self-love. She speaks openly about her personal journey, offering encouragement to those who may feel invisible or unheard. Her message is simple, yet powerful. Being yourself is not a weakness, it is an act of courage. Today, Isis King continues working as a model and actress while remaining a steady voice for inclusion. Her legacy isn't defined by one moment on a runway. It's defined by consistency, dignity, and the quiet bravery of showing up as your full self when the world is still learning how to see you. Janet Mock is not just a storyteller. She is proof that telling the right story, in the right voice, can change history. Long before her name appeared in Hollywood credits, Janet was fighting to be seen in a world that often erased transgender women of color. Her journey began far from red carpets, shaped by survival, resilience, and an unshakable belief that her story mattered. Many people first encountered Janet through Pose, the groundbreaking FX series that brought the ballroom culture of 1980s and 1990s New York to the screen. But what most viewers didn't realize is that Janet wasn't just part of the cast, she was shaping the narrative itself. Behind the scenes, she became the first openly transgender woman to write and direct for a major television network, ensuring these stories were told with dignity, truth, and emotional depth. Here's the moment that truly changes everything. Janet Mock didn't ask for permission to exist in Hollywood. She rewrote the rules. Before Pose, she made history with her memoir, Redefining Realness, one of the first best-selling books written by a transgender woman about her own life. Through raw honesty, she gave readers an intimate look into identity, trauma, and the lifelong search for belonging. Janet's work goes beyond entertainment. It restores humanity to people who were long portrayed as invisible or one-dimensional. Today, she continues creating powerful projects through her partnership with Netflix, while speaking openly about self-worth, justice, and love. Janet Mock reminds us that representation isn't just about being seen. It's about being heard, understood, and finally, respected. And sometimes, the most powerful revolutions begin with a single voice refusing to be silenced. Laveme Cox is more than an actress. She is a cultural force who helped change how America sees transgender women. When she appeared as Sophia Bursette in Orange is the New Black, her performance wasn't just powerful, it was historic. Laverne became the first openly transgender woman to be nominated for an Emmy Award in an acting category, a moment that signaled real change in Hollywood. But her journey to that stage was far from easy. Before fame, Laverne faced constant rejection, limited roles, and an industry that didn't know how to see her beyond stereotypes. Instead of shrinking herself to fit expectations, she chose authenticity. That decision became her greatest strength. Every role she took on, every interview she gave, carried a deeper purpose: visibility with dignity. Laverne understood something many people didn't at the time. Representation matters. Seeing a transgender woman portrayed with complexity, intelligence, and humanity allowed millions of viewers to challenge their assumptions. For many, she wasn't just a character on screen. She was the first trans woman they truly listened to. Beyond acting, Laverne has used her voice to advocate for equality, healthcare access, and an end to violence against transgender women, especially Black trans women who face disproportionate harm. Her activism is rooted in compassion and lived experience, not just celebrity influence. Today, Laverne Cox remains a respected figure in American culture. She continues working in television, hosting and producing projects that center inclusion and truth. Her story is a reminder that courage doesn't always shout. Sometimes it stands tall, speaks clearly, and changes the world simply by being seen. Michaela Jaé Rodriguez didn't just succeed in Hollywood. She transformed what success could look like. At a time when transgender stories were often pushed to the margins, Michaela stepped forward and claimed the center with grace, strength, and undeniable talent. The world came to know her as Blanca Evangelista in Pose, a character who became the emotional core of the series. Blanca was more than a role. She was a mother, a protector, a woman holding her chosen family together through love and resilience. Through Michaela's performance, audiences didn't see a stereotype or a statement. They saw a human being. And that changed everything. Then came 2021, a year that marked a turning point not just for Michaela, but for television history itself. She became the first openly transgender woman nominated for an Emmy Award in a lead acting category. And soon after, she reached another milestone, winning the Golden Globe for Best Actress in a Television Drama. It was a moment many thought they would never witness. Not because of lack of talent, but because opportunity had been denied for so long. What makes Michaela's journey so powerful is her intention. She has spoken openly about the importance of representation that goes beyond visibility. She believes transgender characters deserve the same emotional depth, flaws, dreams, and complexity as anyone else. Not symbols, not exceptions. Just people. Beyond acting, Michaela has expressed herself through music, using her voice to share vulnerability and hope. Today, she continues building her career through projects like Loot, while advocating for inclusion with calm confidence. Michaela Jaé Rodriguez reminds us that authenticity doesn't chase history. When it's real enough, history follows. These stories remind us that visibility isn't just about being seen, it's about being understood. Each journey you've heard today represents courage, resilience, and the power of living authentically in a world that doesn't always make space for difference. If any of these stories moved you, take a moment to share your thoughts in the comments. Your voice matters too. If you found value in this video, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need it. Until next time, keep listening, keep learning, and keep empathy alive.